Today I choose to follow you.
Good morning. It's Monday, the 1st of August, and this is Coffee with God. Trust that you've got a decent cup of coffee to start the day with. What an amazing way to start the day. If you have your Bibles, 1 Corinthians 9, and we're going to look at verse 18. Paul is busy writing to the Corinthians, and the Corinthian church had been visited by these super apostles, people who demanded a performance fee or a speaking fee. They said, well, if we come to your synagogue and we preach there, this is our call out fee. This is what you need to pay us. And Paul wasn't charging anything. And these guys then used that, the fact that Paul wasn't charging anything, to say, well, Paul's worth nothing. Paul doesn't even charge you, and you want to listen to him? What authority? What respect does he have that he doesn't charge anything? He doesn't even believe in himself. And Paul writes to them, and he says to them, listen, this whole thing, the whole of chapter 9, go read it. It's absolutely amazing. He says, you know, the ox mustn't be muzzled while it's threshing out the corn, because it's worth its labor. The farmer plants with hope of producing a crop that he can dish out, that he can, and everyone works in order to gain something. And he says categorically, we who sow spiritually into your life, are we not allowed to reap material stuff? And then listen to what he says. For if I do this voluntarily, I have a reward. This is verse 17, sorry. For if I do this voluntarily, if I preach and if I spread the gospel, if I do the work that I'm supposed to do voluntarily, I have a reward. But if against my will, I have a stewardship entrusted to me. What then is my reward? What's his reward if he does it for free and he does it voluntarily and he doesn't charge and he doesn't expect any material things in return? What then is my reward? That when I preach the gospel, I may offer the gospel without charge, so as not to make full use of my right in the gospel. His right in the gospel is, well, if you live by the word, you should live by that word. You should earn your keep from the word that you're sowing. And he's saying, but if I do this voluntarily, if I go where I want to go, where I'm not paid to come, and then they are automatically determining my program, determining where I go next. And you know, the heart of man is so deceitful. We'll start looking for the more lucrative churches, the bigger churches, the churches that can afford us, the churches that can give us more. And the gospel becomes a bought thing. It becomes something that fills my need and isn't there to serve you. And he says, you know what, my reward is to be able to go where I want to go. And my reward in that is that I don't have to think about what I'm going to get paid, what I'm going to get out of this. And his reward is it breaks in him that greediness, that sense in us where we always look for a little bit more, where, and this affects in a small way so much of our life. We go into a room and we see wealthy, middle class, and poor. To whom do we gravitate? We tend to want to ingratiate ourselves. We tend to want to get in. Ons wil daar by die rykes gaan staan. Ons hoop hulle kyk met goedgesindheid na ons toe. Dit is hoekom baie ryk mense nie by kerke uitkom. Hulle woon nie kerkdienste by nie. En want hulle is 'n teken. Hulle word gesien deur die gewone mens as ons daar vriendskap kan. Daar's voordele daar vir ons. In small, little, subtle ways. May not be so outright to just ask, but every time you go for coffee with someone who you perceive as wealthy, you always expect them and hope that they will get the check, pay the bill. And they always just tend to do it. They've kind of learned that people don't buy them. There's no free coffee for them in the world. And just put yourself in those people's shoes where they feel as if they have to be on the guard the whole time. And Paul is saying here, you know what? My reward is when I don't do this for gain. I don't get to charge people. I can give it out freely. And that just breaks such a fundamental thing. Dis in elkeen van ons om iets bietjie gratis te kry, om 'n wins te bekom in die dag. Jy weet, hy was op special gewees. Ek het net die betaal vir daai. We're always looking for the special. And Paul say, my reward is to be able to give this out freely, this gospel out freely. And although I have a right to charge for it, I don't have to stand on that right. I can just give it out freely, but that means I get to go where the Spirit leads me, not where the money is calling me. What about you? You may not be a preacher who puts a charge on where you speak and what your call-out fee is, but maybe just you as a person today. When someone asks you to do something, go out of your way to do it freely and voluntarily and get the reward, as it breaks down in you that what is our huursoldate, wat is die naam vir dit, mercenary spirit in you. Jy breek daai huursoldaat mentaliteit in jouself, soos wat jy goed gratis en vrylik weggee. Mag jy 'n wonderlike maandag hê, dink 'n bietjie daaroor. Ek is altyd oop om 'n koppie koffie saam met iemand te drink, so maak 'n afspraak, kom drink 'n koffie saam met my. Mag die Here jou seën.